Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the World of CONCACAF Podcast News Desk. I am Eric Schmitz.
I'm Jonathan Slade.
And I'm Donald Wine.
And we've missed you. I've missed you guys. I'm excited to talk some soccer because we've got some big nonsense coming up. It's good to see your smiling faces. You guys can't see them, but I can see them.
Yeah, we got real big nonsense. We got real big nonsense to talk about.
Yes. And we'll get to that. But first, I want to start off saying thank you to our patrons, our supporters, patreon.com/podcacaf, PODCACAF. That is the World of CONCACAF Podcast Patreon. We've got some diehard subscribers who have been behind us this whole time while, we've been intermittent with our podcasting. It's tough. We're adults, life happens. But thank you to our supporters. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/podcacaf, register. There are various tiers, and you can get our exclusive bonus one more round bonus episodes and help us, do this thing. So yeah, thank you to everyone who supports us. We really appreciate it. And related, we've got a special surprise announcement that will happen here at the end of this podcast. So stick around for that. Sorry for doing all of the talking, guys, but I feel like we're all going to have a lot to talk about here because after years of waiting, we've got our FIFA World Cup draw for 2026, your United bid. The Concacaf World Cup is here. And so just to you guys, initial thoughts on the draw itself.
You mean the event?
Yes, the event. The tire fire that was
let Jonathan go first because I was there. So
yeah, let's say so. I think I experienced it the least out of all three of you all. I was flying back from Las Vegas, and so I was going through security, going through the airport, that stuff. But I was, I had it on my phone, was listening and watching. But like, what a fucking shit show! I so many goddamn skits. Like before we get to the like orange cunt of it all, I like just like in general, like it was so bad, so wooden. Rio Ferdinand should never act. Go ahead, Eric. You got thoughts?
I mean, I was gonna say because people were coming up to me at work and be like, "Oh my god, did you watch that? That was a mess. That was embarrassing." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. That's exactly what I thought it was going to be.
I mean, it was everything I expected. Damn shame that it wasn't in Vegas, which is where it was supposed where it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. I would have already been there, so like maybe it would have been me covering this instead of Donald. But actually knowing that you two would have also been in Vegas.
And I mean, part of it is that like for a lot of folks, and I saw Fox came out. This is like the most watched draw in the US ever. So there are a lot of people who are experiencing this for, the first time. The eyeballs are on it. I'm like, yeah, if you've watched any draw for any soccer tournament ever, it takes too long. It's very awkward. They'll mess something up. They won't be able to pronounce all the countries' names. And you're going to get people drawing who are just like awkward people. So like Wayne Gretzky not being able to say the names of countries, not surprising. I
was surprised that one of his best friends is Michael Jordan, and he could not pronounce the country Jordan.
Curacao, that's our region, man. You've probably been there on vacation, dude. Like,
oh yeah, he's probably tried to buy it once.
Yes, but I mean, all of the other nonsense from your peace prizes, your the whole where having like each country's leader like do the ceremonial draw, whatever. Like I expected all of this. So honestly, the fact it took 2.5 hours away from my life instead of the 2 I kind of figured it was going to. Whatever.
Oh,
But you were there. You were
biggest
there though.
positive before we let Donald, but biggest positive, most surprising thing, Lauren Hill was on time.
Yes.
Um,
It was listed
We're
as
to New World.
TBD on the rundown that we were given because they didn't know either.
Yeah.
They didn't know she was going to pull up. Yeah, so I was at the media center. I got a credential to this thing, and it made sense that I traveled 10,000 miles for the last World Cup draw. I traveled 20-minute 10-minute Uber ride to this one, but security was insane because of all. I mean, it like look, I live in DC, so we're used to the the president's coming to some event, so you have to go through extra security. But this was an extra layer of stupid. It took over an hour and a half for most people that had credentials to get through security because they just weren't really saying anything. The amount, like, if you guys were scavengers, the amount of like Yeti bottles and stuff like that were having to be discarded because they weren't letting them in, even though they told us the day before that we could bring them. I mean, you'd have made out like bandits. You would have had some real nice stuff. But the one thing about it is, Eric, like you mentioned, the draw is usually glitzy, glamoury. It has a lot of stuff that doesn't apply because everybody on the planet is looking for one thing. I want to know where my team is playing. We did not get that for 85 minutes. Like, I could watch an entire movie and the movie would end and I would still not know who was playing the United States in the second game of the group because they had not reached pot two at that moment. So that part was annoying. The additional things that they had, like, yeah, explain the draw. They had some convoluted draw procedures. Explain those. Take a couple minutes and do it, and then just jump right into it. Like, I honestly didn't even mind. Like, the one part that I thought was the most relatively tame was the three leaders of the three heads of state picking their teams out of for the first to the three co-hosts. I thought that was fine. You can't though see that and not know why they did that because that was not a part of the script either. Like, that was just Infantino going, "Oh, this guy wants to draw some ping pong balls. So we're gonna figure out a way so he can do this, and then we can get on with the rest of it." But that ceremony, which should have been 3 seconds, took 25 minutes. The Peace Prize should have only been was only supposed to be 5 minutes, and it took 20. And all of that dragged on, and at a certain point, everyone just said the same thing in the media center. It was a circus. It was a whole circus, and they didn't even give us no peanuts.
Yeah. I mean, I I'm not surprised. I'm actually shocked that the Peace Prize part of it didn't go even longer. I figured, knowing Trump, he's going to go off script, but
I knew it wouldn't be 5 minutes, but yeah,
yeah.
it was probably shorter than we thought.
And I mean, like, I get it. I get it that they're trying to, like, butter him up. The guy looked like he was legitimately enjoying the attention he was getting from it. And FIFA's doing their best to, make him feel good about everything. So that way, you know, when he's talking about doing some absolute nonsense, it's like the soft pressure. Here's your Peace Prize, here's Bocelli, here's the village people. Buddy, we're here for you. This is great. Thank you. You're the best. And it's everyone felt it was like so. I'm like, everything's embarrassing. I get it. I get what FIFA's doing.
They didn't butter him up enough, apparently, because he literally left the thing, went back to the White House, and then said at a press conference that Seattle and LA should have games taken away from him, knowing that that's where the US is supposed to be playing their three group stage games. So, like, it didn't register to him. It's just another way for him to, again, have his ass kissed. Let's be clear, that's what it was. And what they're buttering him up for is all these things that you mentioned, but it doesn't help that he immediately goes against FIFA and all this stuff. And also, it now turns out that FIFA didn't agree to this either. It was just Infantino, and
Yeah.
FIFA is now looking into how this was approved when none of them approved it. So there you go.
I did get a chuckle about how they had all the leaders, pull their country's names and read it, and they put USA on the one because that's probably the only thing you can read. If it said
But
United States of America, you probably
he
couldn't.
didn't even read it. He just held it up. And Infantino said USA. Like everyone else, like Carney was like Canada, and
Yeah.
they like had like the chant going. And then Scheinbaum was like Mexico, and she like did the little thing, and he was like, I wonder what this could be. And he pulls it up. He goes, huh, funny, and he just hold it up, and like Infantino's like USA. So he didn't actually even read anything.
Uh, I don't want to get too much into the geopolitical stuff, but yeah, it's
Yeah,
kind of it's exhausting watching, but we're gonna get through July and never do this shit again. So
until the Olympics.
until the Olympics, unless it
There's hope. There's
happens.
hope. There's hope, Donald.
Yeah,
Yes, there's hope.
it's just
All right, let's get to like the results of the draw instead of the draw itself. Um, let's talk about the groups. Obviously, six CONCACAF teams with potentially two more. So we'll go through the groups that we know CONCACAF teams are in. Then we'll talk about our inter-confederation playoff teams. So we'll start with Group A because alphabetically that is first. Mexico drawing A1 in this tournament. They get drawn in with South Africa, South Korea, and the UEFA Path D winner. So the UEFA Path D is going to be the winner of Czech Republic, Ireland, Denmark, or North Macedonia. Um, for Mexico, do you feel good about this group?
I mean, I think it's good. I mean, I think the big thing that at first I noticed is that it in Mexico South Africa is going to be the opening game, and just always brings me back to thinking about the 2010 World Cup opener. Um, and so I mean
Shabalala.
that for Bafana like that's probably that was like the biggest thing for me when I saw that group. But I think Mexico should have plenty to advance out of that group. I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be.
when I saw it, I posted online that the Mexico South Africa opener was the return leg of World Cup openers because South Africa hosted Mexico. Now
Yeah.
Mexico would get to host South Africa, which in a kind of poetic way would be cool. Um, I guess Peter Drury is going to have to get signed by somebody because he's got to do that call, mimic a call that he did in the South African opener. But yeah, this is one that they should feel pretty excited about. South Korea, as we know, we've seen them recently, is still pretty tough, but um, and Denmark could be tough if they got out of there. And Ireland would have a nice legion of fans, but I think they should be pretty happy about this group.
Yeah. I mean, Mexico did play South Korea this fall, drew 2-2 on a neutral site. So, yeah, if you're Mexico, especially considering so many third place teams are going to get through the group, they should feel pretty good about it. So, that's it for Group A. Group B, one of the other co hosts, Canada, drawn in spot B1. They get UEFA Path A winner, which UEFA Path A is going to be, where'd my thing go? Path A is going to be Wales, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Italy, and Northern Ireland, one of those teams. Uh, that's going to be the second seed team in the group. They're also drawn in with Qatar and Switzerland. Now, if you're Canada, this could go. I think that Path A winner is really going to determine how good Canada feels about their chances. What do you guys think about their ability to get through here?
Is more difficult for sure because I mean, I know Italy has been struggling, but I even said even if it's Italy or Wales, um, that is a difficult opener because that's the team that they would be facing in that opener in Toronto on June 12th. Qatar is a game that they should get by, but Switzerland is a really tough team. They're very defensive minded, and they do what is necessary to win in World Cup like group stage games. They'll grind a game into the dirt if they need to. Canada playing them in that final game is difficult. That's a difficult order for them because they're going to hope they're probably going to need a win or two to get out of this group safely. And yes, I know third place is the thing, but these Crow hosts can't be thinking about third place. But they will probably need points entering that final match. And Switzerland's a really tough order if they do need a win to get out of there.
I mean, yeah, we know how tough Switzerland is. We saw them um, absolutely smoke the U.S. recently.
Yes, yes, we saw that up close and personal.
Hmm.
I do find it kind of interesting. Um, of all of the host city of the three countries that are hosting, obviously being home, like there's more fans around, more demand for group stage games. The highest demand group stage ticket for a host team is not any of the three US games. It's not any of the three Mexican games. It is Canada hosting UEFA Path A in their
Yeah.
opener. That is the of all the group stage games, it's the second most in demand game. But of all the host countries, it is the most in demand game. Why? Because they could potentially play Italy. And I don't know if you know about Toronto, but
They
that
got Italians.
there are Italians in Toronto. And if Italy plays in Toronto, man, that place is going to be bonkers.
And that's not counting the Italians that could come in from the East Coast, right? It's a quick flight. If they're rooting for Italy and they're traveling all Italian games, like going to Toronto is an easy trip for them. And like the ones from New York, from Philadelphia, even as far south as Baltimore, those are easy hour flights
Well,
to
isn't
get there.
also Canada's playing in because that game is in Toronto, and
Yep.
are there?
That game's
That's
in
the
Toronto.
small. That's the smallest stadium of the three host countries, correct?
Yes, it's the
I
smallest
believe
stadium in
so,
the
yes.
tournament.
That's what I thought.
So between that and the potential opponent, could be bonkers up there. Again, Italy, they played Northern Ireland in the first leg, and then they would play the Wales, Bosnia and Herzegovina winner for a spot in the World Cup. So we will see what happens there. Moving on to Group C, we've got Brazil, Morocco, Scotland, and our friends in Haiti, another CONCACAF group. Very tough draw for the Haitians. Uh, do we
Yeah.
think they can make some surprises here, or are they pretty
No,
much going to get
no.
run
I
over
like.
here?
I feel really bad for that team, but I just personally I don't see really any way that they are going to get much of anything out of this. Like, I think getting a draw would be a huge result because, I mean, Brazil, Morocco, Scotland are all really, really good teams. And I think just the Haitians are gonna have like they're gonna have their hands full with any of those. So, um, like yeah, I don't. This is the Concacaf team. If they would have been drawn in another group, would have felt better about them. But they just really got the short end of the stick with that.
I feel for them because, this is their first World Cup in 50 years, over 50 years.
Yeah.
And this is how they're rewarded with this group, which if you look at all the groups, there really isn't a group of death until you look at Group C. Because Brazil, Morocco, and Scotland easily could win any group that they're in. Brazil and Morocco, especially. Brazil is one of the top 5 teams in the world. Morocco was arguably the most dangerous team in the world. And Scotland is right there again. They're in their first World Cup since '98. And Haiti, I'm not going to completely rule them out because they probably, they were counted out long ago, and they're still standing. But this is a tall task for them to try and get off what would probably need to be at least a win and a draw to get out of this group.
Yeah, I mean, Scotland is like the one you're like, all right, maybe they can scratch out a result, but Johnny Placide, Haitian goalkeeper, sorry, buddy, you're gonna have a rough
Good
time.
luck.
Good luck and Godspeed. So yeah, I mean that's why they play the games. If you're gonna get a shock result, if you're making the World Cup for the first time in 50 years, and This is a great moment in your country's history, and you get to play friggin' Brazil in the World Cup. Like that's still cool. But as Team Concacaf over here, we're definitely hoping that they can, hold their own against some really good teams. All right, let's move on to Group D, the final co-host group. The United States of America draws Paraguay, Australia, and the UEFA Path C winner. Path C is going to be the winner of the matchups between Slovakia, Kosovo, Turkey, and Romania. I'm going to jump in here first. I'm not worried about the group, but man, I am kind of underwhelmed and disappointed because the World Cup is the one thing everyone complains about how there's too many like competitions and there's too much playing your own confederation. And I'm sick of playing Mexico, Canada, and Costa Rica, Jamaica. This is when you get to play random teams in games that really matter. And the U.S. draws two teams they played in the last 2 fucking months.
Yeah. That was my first thought when they came out. Like Australia, like I know we just recently played them, but like there was like a little bit of like, oh, I like the way this could shape up to be the I hate England group. And that didn't work out for us. But yeah, to then get Paraguay, who I've seen not only have I like the way we played them recently, it's a team I've seen before. Turkey, not like I mean that Turkey's just one of the four that could come through, and yeah, it's just like it's disappointing to get like I was hoping for maybe an African team or I was just really disappointed in the teams that we got. I think the U.S. has a great opportunity to make a run, but yeah, I'm very disappointed.
I believe our friend April, who I believe is the patron, said something to the effect.
Us a supporter of the podcast,
supporter of the pod. Yeah. She
Friend
said
of the
something
pod.
to the effect of, a bunch of people paid $3,000 for a ticket they could have got for $45 a month ago. Because that's essentially what happened. But I think the one thing about the fear in this, and it's not necessarily fear, it's the concern that fans should have is that because we've seen them recently, that the team would kind of take them for granted and go, yes, we know how to beat them. We've played them before. We know what to do. But speaking with the players after the draw and speaking with Pochettino after the draw, they're approaching this completely different. They know that the World Cup is different. Pochettino even said like, hey, these like we can't think beyond the group stage. We can't think beyond these teams like Argentina can. We have to think of that opening game as a World Cup final, and then the second game as a World Cup final, and then the third game as a World Cup final, and we just have to approach it like that. So I think in that regard, they're on the right mind path and mentality of approach these as 3 fresh games against opponents, try to figure out what their tendencies are, and just try to be as prepared as possible.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very disappointing thinking about it's like since they got awarded the World Cup, there's been this like grandiose vision of the team walking out for the opening match in their host country. You know, come June, we're gonna see them walk out with the team they walked out with in Chester, Pennsylvania last month. You know,
Yeah.
so it's just.
I will say though, there's something to be said about. I think beyond that, right? I don't think we expected to get this type of group. I mean, a lot of people are probably expecting somewhere between, okay, a decent group to like, wow, we got a nice, tough group. But there's something to be said about the U.S. drawing a favorable group. And this appears to be favorable, not just because we've seen the teams recently, but because Australia was the lowest seeded team in pot 2. Paraguay was one of the lower seeds in pot 3. And the UEFA playoff C winner, again, is Turkey, which would have been, again, at the tail end of pot 2, but all the way down to Kosovo. Like if Kosovo is able to pull it off or Romania to pull it off, like you have a team in the United States that's favored in that group, which is not something we've seen in a long time from a U.S. team on the men's side at a World Cup.
Yeah. All right. 2 questions for you guys. We'll go around. First question. What team would you prefer to see the U.S. play out of those UEFA playoff teams?
I'm gonna go Slovakia, and it's like a non-soccer reason. If I get Slovakia in this group, two of the three opponents will be people who like they'll be team members I work with are from both of those countries. So like that'll just be fun. And so like that's what I'm pushing for. But yeah, very much a non-soccer reason.
Um, Kosovo would be the easy answer, but I'm gonna go Romania simply because one of my favorite games growing up was Super Soccer '96, and Romania was like incredible in that game. So I played a lot of US versus Romania. That would be cool to be the last group stage game.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Romania. Just because I don't know, I don't want to play another red, white, and blue team. You know, oh, it's Turkey, red and white. Slovakia, red, white, and blue. Kosovo is blue and white. Give me some color. I want to see. I want the aesthetics. You know, play Romania. All right, next question. All right, we know the potential opponents. We know the two other opponents. Put it on wax now. How many points is the U.S. getting in this group?
I'm gonna say 7.
7 is good to me.
All right, fine. I'm going 9.
Sounds
We're
good
running.
too.
We're running the table, baby.
I say we win the first two, and knowing that we've advanced, we kind of kick the ball around in the third game.
That's kind of what I'm thinking as well, is that we maybe get some guys some rest, some guys that are on yellow cards, that situation.
You guys say that, and you're not having like misguided thoughts. But if you've watched the U.S. the last couple months, it doesn't really matter who's in. That second squad, second string, whatever you want to call it, they'll get in there and take care of business.
I mean, we've not seen. I mean, that's where Pulisic is going to be.
Exactly.
We haven't seen him come off the bench, so like that's really my concern. Is like I don't know how he's gonna handle that.
Yeah. No, I think the boys are going to put on a show the first 3 games. After that, your mileage may vary, but I think the group stage could go very well. All right. So that is Group D. The next CONCACAF group to talk about is Group E. We've got Germany as the top seeded team in Group E with Curacao. You heard how I said that, Gawain? Like Curacao. You're the great one, but I can talk better. Uh, Ivory Coast and Ecuador. So Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, Ecuador. Curacao making their first World Cup appearance ever. Shout out to everyone down on the island. Amazing that you get to play Germany in a World Cup. Great experience. How do we feel about Curaçao's draw and their chances?
I'm not as negative about Curacao as I am about Haiti, but I'm pretty close. I think they got a tough group. Um, Germany. I think really probably the biggest thing is like what Ecuador shows up. Like Ecuador is probably the most inconsistent of the teams. Ivory Coast always shows up and does well in this World Cup. I know that I think they're going through a little bit more transition, but I think Curacao probably can get a point out of this. I think that is huge if they do. Um, but it's going to be very, very tough for them.
I think Curaçao's issue is they're going to have to generate consistent scoring in a group that has three very, very good defensive teams. Ecuador, we've seen them recently. They're very defensive. Germany can be defensive, and they even have some question marks on offense, right? If Musiala is going to be back and healthy and 100% in time is the main question about their offense, but they still have guys who can attack. The I think the biggest X factor is Ivory Coast. They did not allow a goal in qualifying. So I mean, their defensive, they're probably one of the most dangerous teams, one of the hottest teams on the planet. And Curacao is going to have to figure out a way to consistently generate attack and score because goal differential is going to be all the difference in this group.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Germany, you're feeling pretty good about your chances in this group. If you're Curacao, you know, they've grinded out some good results through qualifying and over the last few years as the program has grown. I think they might be able to sneak a shock win in here somewhere, but I could see them getting a draw. I don't see Curacao walking away with 0 points in this tournament.
No, I don't either. I do think
Mhm.
they probably are going to benefit from the fact of most people haven't seen this team play. Like, yes, they're gonna go back and they're gonna, they'll watch their qualifying campaign, but like it's a small sample size. There's not like so. I think they're gonna surprise some people with how tough an opponent they are.
Yeah, but also like if you go back and watch them in qualifying, are you going to glean anything from their 4-0 win over St. Lucia in
Yeah, that's what I'm
qualifying?
saying. Like they're
Like,
like
what do
the
you get
tape
from
that
that?
does exist. There's just not much you can get out of that.
Yeah, you can watch them beat the shit out of Bermuda. I don't know how that's going to help you come June,
I
but
almost don't want them to watch the tape because then they're going to get ideas about doing this in their own confederations. And no, you can't have CONCACAF Nations League.
yeah. Well, I mean, I want them to watch and get jealous. It's like, man, they get to go to fucking Curacao during an international break. You play soccer. What a life. Also, you guys can't see it. I'm wearing my Nations League hoodie as we record here. Shout out Concacaf
That's
Nations
when you
League.
sorta.
Yes, the dream is now. All right. So the last CONCACAF group to talk about of teams that have already qualified. We'll go all the way down to Group L, where we've got England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. Um, yeah, not an easy draw for Panama, but as we know, talking about Nations League hoodies, um, Panama has gotten results in major tournaments in the last couple of years. Do you think that? I mean, England, Croatia, and Ghana. Ghana is not as strong as England and Croatia, but England and Croatia know what they're doing when they're coming to international tournaments. Do you think they
I
can surprise anybody?
I think they could surprise Croatia. Like Croatia's the one that like they're old, and I think that I can't remember what order Panama plays them, but if Panama catches them at the end, they could be tired, they could be resting guys, um, or they
Panama opens with Ghana. They play Croatia second and England third. I will note that Panama does play Ghana and Croatia in Toronto. So I don't think they're getting a climate advantage as much as
no,
they could if they're playing in more of a southern
yeah,
market.
if they're playing somewhere else. I mean England is the team to like that I just don't see any chance. Like England didn't allow a single goal through qualifying. Um, and but yeah, I think they think they can. I think they can beat Croatia. I think they could. I think they can beat Ghana as well. But I really like. I think that England wins a bridge too far.
I have an idea for Panama. Hear me out. Okay,
What's
so
that?
they're playing England. It's that final group stage game. And I don't know where that game is off the top of my head.
I just had it. I believe it is at
Is it New
yes,
Metal?
MetLife Stadium.
MetLife Stadium. So that's going to be hot there. Okay.
Sorry, New
So
York, New Jersey Stadium.
MetLife. So they're playing that game. They're warming up. England gets off the bus. They walk into the locker room and they discover that somebody has stolen their jerseys. Now, I think that would be devastating for most teams because they're like, what are we going to do? But luckily, the United States are fantastic hosts. And we go, hey, man, I know what your jerseys look like. We got these 2024 jerseys of ours. We're not using them. We can let you borrow them for this game. It'll be roughly the same. Nobody's going to know. And Panama's going to see that and it's going to be like red to a bull. And they're going to beat them. That's how that's going to work. That's how they get 3 points against England. They pretend that they're the United States and they play accordingly. Because apparently that's who they beat in major tournaments. So right now,
Yeah, that Panama England match is a 5 p.m. local kickoff in New Jersey, and at the end of June.
Oh, I promise you, England's going to be upset. I promise you,
Yeah,
they're going to be upset at that.
yeah, yeah. And at that point in the tournament, England's probably going to have enough sun. Like all those guys are going to be like pink
Mm-hmm.
from the sunburn. So you never know. That's why they play the games.
We'll say,
That's the
hey,
old
our
segment.
2024 jerseys are moisture wicking. They'll help you with the heat. Try them
Yeah.
on. You'll like them.
I do want to shout out because I mean, just because it is a pathway for more Concacaf teams. The Interconfederation Playoff, Concacaf has two of the six teams. Jamaica, they get to face New Caledonia in a semifinal, with the winner taking on DR Congo for a spot in the World Cup. That team will go to Group K with Portugal, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Not necessarily easy, but there's a path there for
It's that's
Jamaica.
a win. That is a winnable. That is a winnable game.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know if we haven't talked about this yet, but Steve McLaren quit as Jamaica manager
Mm-hmm.
after qualifying. So they're good. They got to figure their shit out in the next 6 months.
I just hope they don't. John Herdman, if I have to watch another game with that loser and his flesh covered AirPod that he wears on the goddamn sidelines, um, like God, I loathe that individual.
He's gonna send the drones on you. You better watch what you say.
I wish he
Bring
would.
it.
And then the other interconfederation playoff, our friends down in Suriname, the Ronnie Brunswick boys, uh, they face Bolivia in the semifinal with the winner taking on Iraq to go to the World Cup. That team will go into, I think, the group of death of the tournament, Group I. They would go in with France, Senegal, and Norway. And if you're Suriname and you got look at these teams, you're like, oh, cool. We got to try to stop Erling Holland.
One
It's
note
the same.
about the
Go ahead.
one note about the Interconfederation playoff for Suriname is we were kind of debating like, oh, well, one of them because one's in Monterrey and one's in Guadalajara, and we were thinking, oh, if Jamaica, like, if Bolivia's placed away from Monterrey, then their altitude kind of uh, advantage would be neutralized somewhat. Well, that's what happened. I believe this one's going to be in Guadalajara, which is
Yep.
lower. It's like a 1,700 feet as opposed to 5,800 feet. And so Suriname has again, kind of a puncher's chance there because Bolivia traditionally does not play well when they're not at altitude.
Take that back. Bolivia Suriname is in Monterey.
Well, then
They're in
let's
Monterey?
just yeah.
Yes.
Then never
Okay, I
mind.
got you.
Yeah. Scratch that,
No,
reverse it.
never scratch that, reverse it. Suriname might be in trouble. But again, I think Bolivia, let's just put it this way. I say altitude, but it really is away from home. They traditionally do not play well. And to get into this playoff, they beat Brazil at home. And that was kind of the advantage that they had playing at, 12,000 feet of elevation. They'll still be lower, but I think, again, Suriname, Jamaica, they're used to playing in Mexico. And so I think that part maybe will serve as an advantage to them.
Yeah. Do we feel like Jamaica's got a good shot to get past Congo?
Yeah,
Oof.
I think. I mean, I think what I mean by good chance is I just think it's possible. I know DR Congo is quite good, but I think they have a chance.
I mean,
They have
Congo this calendar year in qualifying, they lost to Senegal and they drew Nigeria. Every other game was a win. Like they
Yeah,
get
and then the two
results.
wins they had in their playoff that they did to get into this playoff were both uh, penalties. So they've had that kind of luck. But I mean, if Jamaica is healthy, they have all their guys. If they have Andre Blake, who in theory is probably the best goalkeeper in CONCACAF, like that again, puncher's chance there. But I mean, they got to take care of business against New Caledonia. They can't look ahead. don't let New Caledonia shock you. And then in the case of, Suriname, they have to think forward. They have to think about Bolivia. And then after that, they're still going up against a really tough-minded Iraq team who can beat anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the struggle for them is getting past Iraq. Like that's their really, really tough opponent to have to face in this. And I like, as much as I want the CONCACAF teams to join, I think it'd be really cool to see Iraq make the World Cup. If I'm honest.
Yeah. Another thing I noticed while I was looking at lists. Do you think it's kind of bullshit that Africa, like, there's an AFCON in a couple weeks? The fact that they get a full tournament of games 6 months out from a World Cup, do you think that's any kind of advantage for those teams?
I would
No.
say yes. I because I think it gives them time to work on things. Like I think one of the biggest struggles for the United States, Mexico, and Canada is we've had years with I know we had the Gold Cup and Nations League, but we've had so little competitive soccer that I think there is going to be now there's a lot can change in that 6 months. Players can get hurt, players can, either be in form or be out of form. But I do like I think having more national team games as a part of a lead up to a World Cup, especially when you know where you're going to be, who you're going to be facing, I think is an advantage for any team.
I think I don't know that it's necessarily an advantage, only because I only say that because um, not all of these guys who are making these rosters are going to make the final roster for the World Cup. And some may even go, hey, they may have players who are like, yo, coach, if I'm in contention for this World Cup, then let me just hang with my club for a while and do this thing and not because if injuries happen during that, then it'll be that kind of narrative flips on its head. I will say I'm kind of, it kind of goes back to the fact that the United States, Mexico, and Canada, to a lesser extent, they had their chances. They had Nations Leagues, they had Gold Cups, they had Copa America, and didn't fully take advantage of those opportunities for competitive matches to really, across the board. I think each of them had their own different stories with that, but not having a January camp was again another opportunity that they could have had to get some guys in there and evaluate, but they decided not to do that on the part of the United States. So it's I think they've kind of said let these guys do their thing with their club and let's see where they are in March, and that will be I think the true fresh indicator is these rosters in March because that's where you'll see the coaches going, okay, if I had to start the World Cup today, which is only a couple months away from that, these are my guys. And I think we'll see more of a barometer of the March window rosters to the World Cup rosters as opposed to January to March or to May.
Good points. Good points. Um, yeah, we are 6 months away from all of this. And with any luck, with lottery and maybe a lot of American dollars, we might be there. So, looking forward to a fun summer of soccer in the US. Speaking of draws, because I'm talking World Cup draw, we also had the Concacaf Champions Cup draw, the arguably most prestigious Champions Cup League type competition on the planet. The 2026 edition had their draw. We've got 5 teams that received a bye to the round of 16: Toluca, Mount Pleasant out of Jamaica, Alajuelense, Inter Miami, and the Seattle Sounders. They learned the rest of the field. Not that we didn't already know the teams that are going to be playing in it, but just like the order. So here are our round 1 matchups. San Diego FC will take on Pumas. Sporting San Miguelito out of Panama will take on LA Galaxy. Vancouver FC, not the Whitecaps, FC, they take on Cruz Azul. Gelaju out of Guatemala, they take on Monterrey. Real España from Honduras will take on LAFC. Atletico Ottawa takes on Nashville SC. Olympia from Honduras will take on Club America. Defense Force from Trinidad faces Philadelphia Union. Cartagenas out of Costa Rica takes on Vancouver Whitecaps. O&M from the Dominican Republic will take on FC Cincinnati. And Forge FC out of desolate Hamilton, Ontario will take on Tigres in round one. The main thing I want to note and talk about is for Slape and I, as we are Nashville residents, Nashville takes on Atletico Ottawa, which is in a region of very dumb team names, an extremely dumb team name. In fact, we actually might have used them on Real Team or Fake Team. I don't, now that I think about it, we might have. The winner of that matchup will take on Inter Miami in round two. And I would just like some sort of knockout competition where Nashville does not play Miami. Because I'm like, at this point, I'm just sick of it.
Yeah, like I was saying this in a chat that we were all in that I think that Nashville is the one city where there is like serious like Miami Messi fatigue, like the circus of them coming to town. Everyone's like, who cares? We're gonna see them again
In a couple weeks.
in a couple weeks. It's just it's a real. I wasn't able to go when we played the team from DR in like 2 years ago. And I was hoping, I was like, maybe I will go to like try to catch one of these games on the road. And it's like, I'm not going to.
I was praying for Defense Force, personally.
Like, I'm not going to Ottawa in February. I was dumb enough to go to Hamilton, Ontario in January once for a soccer game, and I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
So
at least
like,
they didn't draw Forge. You know, it could be slightly worse.
It could. I mean, it could be worse. It could be Hamilton.
Yeah, but incredible stats. So this would be there are markets in MLS that still have not had Messi come to town.
Orlando still.
Donald is raising his hand. DC hasn't. Orlando, they are in the same damn state, and they still haven't seen Messi. This will be the 5th time Messi plays in Nashville since he's been back, and that's even counting Miami played in Nashville without him because he was gone on international duty once. So like this is the 5th time. Incredible stat. If Nashville does advance, by the time they play Inter Miami in this 2-leg series, 6 of 10 Nashville games will have been against Miami.
In tournament history?
No, just like the last 10 games that Nashville has played. Because they played Decision Day and 3 times in the playoffs. And then they will play 2 more times in CONCACAF Champions Cup should Nashville advance.
And the funny thing is like not to make this like Nashville centric, but like if Nashville is to beat Inter Miami, the team they're most likely to play is Club America, who we have also played. I think this would be the 4th time that Nashville has played Club America. Give me fun teams. This is my selfish plea, but I think some interesting matchups in there. I'm very interested to see the Whitecaps, how they fare in CCL. We'll get a Cascadia Cup game in the second round should they advance, which is, I think it's always cool when you get some like local like some like really deep rivalries in knockout soccer. But yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
I was saying like they've clearly set up these first few rounds to create some storylines of rivalries, air quotes, that have already pre-existed, right? I don't think you and Inter Miami are rivals, but they have clearly marked you as one because they've set that up. Philly and Club America have played each other in this tournament multiple times. They've set up the Cascadia Cup, they've set that up. Like LA in San Diego, they've set that up, and the winner of that will play LAF could play LAFC before they get to the final. Like they set all these things up so that it's very clear that they had some of these storylines that are like, we need to have these because we need to get some ratings, and these will be some easy way for an easy way for us to get some ratings from some of these games and ticket sales for some of these stadiums because this tournament has not taken off. Due to the time of year that they're trying to play some of these games and the locations they're trying to play them in. So it's clear that they've tried to set some of this up. And unfortunately for y'all, because my team ain't never going to sniff this for a long while. You guys have to put up with the same 2 or 3 teams rotating in and out every single year.
I this has been the year that I really like. I know this is like it's just the straight knockout, but like I'm desperate for some more groups, like for some group stage, CCL type setup where they maybe play a few more games within this tournament. The other one that they also set up is Cruz Azul Monterrey in the second round, which will sure to be a great game. But yeah, I want more. I want more CCC, or I'm still gonna call it CCL, but I want more CCL rather than less.
Yeah.
Is this still a two-legged affair now, or
It
have
is
they
two-
gone single
It is 2 legs all
to
the
the
way
final?
till the final.
Right.
And
Okay.
then the
Which I'm
final is
glad they
one.
got rid of because it. Do you remember the old two-legged final that they
Mhm.
used to have?
Yeah.
I mean, this is Concacaf. If they're doing things right, they change it every couple times, Um, Personally, my favorite thing is just, you know, the expanse of CONCACAF and seeing like the contrasts that are going to happen. I'm very excited to see Cruz Azul have to go play Vancouver FC in fucking Langley, British Columbia in February. That's going to be hilarious. I'm excited to see Tigres have to go to Hamilton, Ontario, because fuck
We
them.
did,
That's
so they
why.
should.
Yes, because fuck them. That's why. And then Philadelphia Union. Cool. Have fun in Port of Spain. We'll see how that goes for you. I mean, even Nashville SC having to go play a CPL team in freaking Ottawa in February. Like, that's going to be cinema. So, looking forward to seeing some of that. LA Galaxy.
Throw back to the old USL days against the Ottawa Fury.
Yeah. But, like, I am kind of jealous of LA Galaxy. They draw a Panamanian team in round 1, and the winner gets to go to Jamaica in round 2. Sometimes you get a good draw, sometimes you don't. But yeah, I kind of wish that teams took this tournament a little more seriously and they made it a bigger deal. So maybe we'd get a bigger tournament.
I think the worst part is if you get past Ottawa and you go to face Inter Miami, you don't even get to do it at the new stadium because I don't think it opens until April. So you don't even get
From to
that.
Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah, you got to go to Chase Stadium again.
Not so lame. Both draws, the home teams just underwhelming. I want something different, something unique. So that wraps up CCEC, but we do have something unique to talk about. We've got a little bit of an announcement to make. Thank you to everyone who's been listening and stuck with us here. Thank you to everyone who's been listening and stuck with us in the going on 5 years of this podcast, which is insane. What is more insane that we've been doing this podcast for 5 years? We've done this podcast for 5 years and still have not gotten through all of CONCACAF.
We've done this podcast for 5 years and haven't gotten through all of CONCACAF.
Correct. Which we should probably work on finishing, around the World Cup.
Yeah, I know. See, this is the thing. You get older and then you get jobs and you get more important jobs incrementally. And then all of a sudden those jobs become your life and you can't find the time to talk about bullshit soccer with your friends on the internet. So, So we've been doing this podcast a long time. We've talked about this a long time. But we are ready to announce where you see this link. You can go to our social media. We have partnered with Stimulus to create a line of World of CONCACAF team gear. We've got jerseys. We've got sideline gear, hoodies, jackets. Stimulus provides some of the finest gear in CONCACAF, and now the finest podcast in CONCACAF is part of the family. Donald, I want to shout out you. You've been kind of running with this project. Do you want to give people a little like sneak peek or kind of talk about the project?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where we've been talking about it for a while. We've, even talked with our patrons and friends of the pod and supporters of the pod. We even had one night, I think the three of us were kind of drinking one night, and we said, yo, I'm just going to try and go through every single team's jerseys right now and just start pulling them, right? We have some of these moments where we just kind of go in a roll, and we just kind of do that.
We did a whole episode just about kits in CONCACAF.
Yes. And we saved that research, right? We did all that. And so one night, I think it was a few weeks ago, I was like, you know what? I have time. There's an opportunity here. I was thinking about the World Cup draw and like, hey, all the hoopla around all the CONCACAF teams. And as I was watching the Caribbean Football Union do their thing, I said, when I get home from Tampa, where I was watching the U.S. game, I was like, I am going to start designing these things. And so, yeah, we have 3 jerseys. We have 3 lightweight hoodies. We have what else do we have? We have quarter zips.
Yep.
And we have a windbreaker. Because it protects you from the rain too. And it rains in CONCACAF. So we have something for everyone. And the great thing is, as we decide to think up more stuff, we can just expand this store. So this store is going to be open for everybody. Now, for you patrons, stick around because we have more surprises for you with regards to that. But for everyone else, you'll get to see our store. By the time you listen to this, I believe this will be live. And the site will be live, and you can go on, and it takes about 4 to 6 weeks to get your jersey. It's all custom order. What they do is if you order on a Monday, or a Tuesday, whatever, they collect all of the orders from that week on Friday or Saturday, and then from there it's 4 to 6 weeks before it is received directly to you from Stimulus, who's operating out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. Again, shout out to them. Shout out our customer rep, Sam, and also the owner, Jason Mora, who has been a good friend of mine for a very long time and was happy to once again collaborate with them. But to do this on this site, I think, and I hope everyone is extremely happy with this gear as we are, because as it was coming to life, we could kind of see this vision that we've been kind of bullshitting about for a few years finally take shape. So we hope you enjoy it.
Yes. So we'll put the link in the show notes to the store. We'll put the link on our social media, which you can find us pretty much everywhere at PodCACAF, POD, and it'll also be on our Patreon, patreon.com/PodCACAF, where if you're a paying patron, you're going to get hooked up. So stay tuned for that. If you're a patron, you can also go there to listen to the One More Round bonus episode that we are going to record as soon as we finish doing this one. So we'll talk more about the jerseys and what we like and what we don't like and all the fun stuff we're doing and whatever nonsense we can think of in, the next 90 seconds before we start recording that one. So we'll wrap this one up. For Donald, for Jonathan, for myself, I want to say thank you for supporting us. Thank you for listening. Thank you for loving CONCACAF almost as much as we do. And hope you have a wonderful holidays if we don't talk to you before then. But enjoy the soccer because it never ends.